Hi Guy! Today I thought we'd do a review of the Amstrad GX4000. Now if you've been keeping an eye on the channel of late, you'll notice that I've been pretty much working my way through every single game that was ever released for it. If I could get like a ROM or a copy of the cartridge, I would do a video of it. And like I said, the last one's just gone back, so go and have a look at the playlist, which will be attached to this video. There was a couple of games obviously I couldn't do. One of them was Gaza 2. It's been sort of 3/4 confirmed of actually having a review copy available, but I don't think it actually ever got a release, so there's no ROM or anything like that. There's just a few shots in like old ancient, like I think Amstrad Action, something like that, old magazines like that, so you just can't get your hands on it. And the next one is Chase HQ. There was about 3 copies of this which actually came out. Now I only know this because of an old issue now, about 5 years ago, issue of in Retro Gaming, where they did an article of it and a guy actually found it. And up until about 2010 on the internet you can find loads of talk about people trying to get the guy to dump the ROM because he paid about 400 or 500 quid for a copy. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 more have surfaced since then, but I think there's only 3 known copies. There's no ROM, so it's not playable. You can always get the CPC version because I think it's pretty much the same thing but just edited slightly. Anyway, just if I ever come across them too, or if they come out, I will get the ROMs, I'll download whatever, and I'll do videos of them just to finish off, and then we'll have the entire Amstrad library on this video set. So I think this is the most comprehensive gameplay footage of every single GX4000 game. There wasn't many, there was about 24, which all added to the system's problems with its life. There was another game, a gun game, called Skeet Shot. There was another one called The Enforcers as well, which I did do a video of, but the problem with Skeet Shot is you couldn't use a controller with it, no matter what you did. I tried controlling both control ports on the front because I thought, oh, maybe you get lucky and it'll work on number 2. It doesn't. You can't even get past the initial screen, and it doesn't play much of a demo, so I couldn't do a video of that one. I'm a bit disappointed really, but the guns, they're impossible. I mean, looking around, they pop up once in a blue moon on eBay and then they go for a big fair chunk of cash. So if you've got one, you're probably sitting on a gold mine there because they're rarely ever auctioned, but scream and shout about it, and if you're going to sell it and stick it up, I'm sure someone will snap it up your hands. But the sad part is the gun games are beyond that. They don't seem very good, and from reading the reviews and stuff and people who have played it, there's a very good Amstrad GX4000 site. This is pretty much the only one. Just go look, I think it's just Amstrad GX4000.co.uk, or it might just be, I should have checked, shouldn't I? I'll have a look later and post it in the links below. So yeah, I mean, those are the missing games, and the one that I just couldn't play. If I ever can do, I will do some footage of it. But yeah, going back to the system, I mean, I've been in and out of this console now for a good few years, and it's always been a case of, oh, it's only a small library, 24 or I think about 25 even games that you can get, and you always think, well, you know, it's a small number, you could get them, it won't take long. But the problem is these days, I mean, even about 5 or 6 years ago when I first started trying to go for a collection, they were still then about £25–30 each. And you know, and it's only about 20 odd games, but it'll just soon add up over a period. But a fair few of the games can go in excess of like £100 or £150 very easily. There's always people who get them some cheaper than that just by luck, but I couldn't do it. But coming back to it today, you know, all these years later, and the games don't pop up very often. One of the ones I thought was fairly easy to get about 5 years ago was Operation Thunderbolt. That went for about 5 or 10 quid then. Now you can pick it up for about 20, 25. Again, prices go up and down, but the more we get away from that time, the more they shoot up. But as a console, I will say one thing straight away. I mean, if you look at the CPC, it's massive. It's like the size of an Amiga 500. It's absolutely huge. Sorry, if you go for the later ones, they did do the Sinclair style, small, black and compact with a tape drive in. But the cartridge slot is where it is because you get more options. But again, you pay more if you get one of them. The actual GX4000, it was proper for the times, a real feat of engineering. It's small, it's tiny, it's compact. You can see it in the footage behind me. It's actually quite impressive what they did with it. The motherboard is tiny, it's clean, it's straightforward. It gets the job done. I mean, there was the whole thing back in the day of Alan Sugar, Sir Alan Sugar now, doing this. Put out as many products as possible and hope one just hits the big time, and was looking at like the whole console market, thinking, look at the Nintendo and the success it had in the US, and thinking, oh, if we could get that over in the UK, but then just, you know, bunging out a console as quickly and cheaply as possible because it uses the old CPC chipsets and designs and stuff, but it's just more compact. But the problem is, when you make a cartridge system and the games are like 25, 30, 35 pounds, that's a lot of money when you compare it to the cassette cartridge at the time. Sorry, cassette tapes. You know, they were like $1.99, $2.99. So people expect more from the games, and the problem was the majority of the games were all like a couple of quid on the tape, and then they'd stick it out on the cartridge, and it'd be a big chunk of cash straight away. Yes, you get a nice cartridge, but the games weren't any different. They weren't graphically impressed because they weren't done up. They were literally just like, it's like dumping ROMs nowadays. That's all they did onto a cartridge. So it just didn't work. It just, you know, it put people off and it crashed and burned. I'm not even sure it got 18 months. It might have been about 12 before they were selling them, like just selling them off at like 10 or 20 pounds in Dixon's and supermarkets, all just to get rid of the stock, which it was a shame, because if you look at stuff like, there's not many games which showed off what it could do. I think probably Pang is one of my favourites for the system and probably the better looking ones, and then Burning Rubber. It's not the best of games, but it looks the best. It shows what the console was capable of. Even though I know it's a racing game, but you know, they really pushed with the colours and the bright and the graphics and stuff. It was really impressive. It was the sort of thing the system could do, but again, they just relied on basic cheap ports. Most of the games came out from Ocean because they just could not get the third party interest, which is a real shame. It's like all things, you know, if you could have just got the games on it, I'm sure the market would have followed eventually. But again, that's not how the console market worked. I mean, as a controller, I really like this one. It's similar in a way. It feels similar to the Sega Master System to hold and touch in your hands, but you've not got that horrible spongy square pad. You know, their attempt at the D-pad, and you've got a proper cross on the Amstrad with the diagonals on as well, and it feels nice to hold. You know, it's responsive. The buttons respond well. It's a bit basic again. It's more, you know, there's next to no buttons on it, which is a bit strange because it would have given them more options. But yeah, I mean, as a whole, the look of it, the design of it, I quite like it. I'm quite a fan of that. It looks fantastic, especially for the time getting that. Well, in the early 90s it would have been. I forget now. But it would have been a really nice system to get and to look at. It just, there's no games on it. If you want to get one today, be prepared for paying a fortune for the games. But what you really want to do is look on the CPC wiki forums, because there's a guy on there that he does this SD card. I've done a video. Just again, go back from my channel and have a look for the CPC4C, I believe it's called. And yeah, it's a nice little cartridge side circuit board which the guy's done, so it will fit in an old plastic cartridge. You can use a CPC one or a GX4000 one, just rip it open, swap out the boards and off you go. But it plugs straight into the system, and it's got an mini SD card on top, and you can put loads of games on it. Now there's about 300 CPC games which have been slightly reprogrammed and altered just to use the controller of the GX4000, which is really great. And again, I've done a load of videos in the past. I'll be doing more in future as well. So, but yeah, it's a nice system. Having all that games, just I'm quite impressed with it. But all it came down with back in the day, it just could not get the games. So yeah. What can you say? Disappointing, I'm afraid. Because of the games, 3 out of 5. It could have been a 4 or a 5 out of 5, but that's just how things goes. Anyway, as always guys, thanks for watching, and please look forward to another video soon.